I'm Jenny. Welcome back to Blue and Red Meeple board games. Today I'm going to talk about 4 more games that are fun to play in larger groups and that I especially like playing around the holidays with friends and family. The first game I'm going to talk about is tag. Now it's actually a 2 to 4 player game, but we often play it in pairs. So you have 4 groups of 2. And you could definitely play with more than that. You could have a few teams of 3, if you had a few more players. That would be no problem at all. Actually, probably helpful. It's a game where I'm often like a deer in the headlights and my brain freezes and I can't think of an answer. So it's always nice to have someone working with you who that does not happen to. So this is a game of trying to match answers to questions with specific letters. It can be maybe a letter that it has to start with, a letter at the end of the word, or a combination of letters somewhere in the word. So it comes with the bowls to put your marbles in, which are where you get your points. We've got our timer here. So I'll just quickly set this up. So you're just going to randomly put the marbles on the board and just kind of help them so that they get into place. The marbles represent different point values. The blacks are worth 3, blues are worth 2, and whites are worth 1. So it's definitely your benefit to try to get more of the higher value ones, but sometimes it's just you just want to get something, so you'll just take what you can get. So you'll start with the first player. They will get to the first run at trying to come up with as many answers as they can, remove as many marbles as they can before their time is up. It's a 15-second timer. We found that that's just not enough time. So we flip it twice instead of once, as in the rules. So you get 30 seconds. So it's really important. You have to make sure that someone else who isn't taking their turn is keeping an eye on the timer and flipping it. Otherwise, you're going to give someone else extra time, and you don't want to do that. So the first player is going to try to come up with answers to beverages, things that are round, musicals and operas, baseball, and types of buildings. And they either start with N, end with E, start with Y, or have TH somewhere in the word. So like you could say beverages that start with N, things that are round that start with N, musical and operas that start with N, baseball that starts with N, and then types of buildings that start with N. And you do the same thing. So these would be all these topics that end in E, start with Y, or have TH in them. So say the first player, they got these 3. So they put them in their bowl, add up their score. So this would be 6, 8 points. So they'll just put their scoring token on the 8. You can see that there. So this is the scoring track. And it also comes with, in the player colors, these tokens with 25 on them. So each time you go around the track, you'll get one of these. And at the end, you'll add up whatever number you're at here, plus all of your extra tokens. So you can see the first player is going to get first dibs at getting the higher point marbles. But they're at the disadvantage where they won't have a chance to try to think up answers to the questions because, they're going first. So there is an advantage to being second for sure and third and fourth. However, as a turn goes on, there are going to be less and less marbles to choose from. So you might be stuck with categories and letters that you can't think of an answer to. But once everyone has taken their turn, and has done their scoring, all the marbles get randomly put back on. You'll flip the cards over so there are new topics, and then the letters will get changed. So the rules say you go 4 rounds or until everyone has had a turn. We usually just keep playing it until all of the letter cards have gone because it's a lot of fun. And I just wanted to add, this is a game you can really play it with, fairly young kids. I would say they might need an adult on their team to help. But there are these crime and punishment cards, and they have the handcuffs on them. So if you did want to play with younger kids, it's recommended in the game to take these out because they have topics like things you need to catch a criminal, causes of death, things like that. So it's a little on the darker side. So if you want to play with younger kids, just don't use these cards. Otherwise, it's, you can definitely use it play this with kids of all ages, as long as they had someone to kind of help them out. So let's just put some new letters on here. We'll just change up a couple of them. Okay, so now we've got ends with S, ends with E, F, and TH in them. So there are a wide range of topics. We've got nature and science, everyday life, sports, language, food and drinks, and there are about 4 other topics as well. So, I mean, we've never gone through all of the cards or repeated because you're always going to be changing the topics and it's going to have different letters that you're trying to match up. So that definitely keeps the variety. It's a really fun game. There's a lot of table talk and, people grabbing for marbles, trying to get them really quickly. So I would definitely recommend this one as one you can play with your family or your friends. And again, it's a 2 to 4 player, but we like playing it double, with pairs, so you can always add people to the game. And that is tags. And the next game we're going to talk about is Unspeakable Words. So this is a word game for 2 to 8 players. This is one I know my mom especially liked this one. She liked word games, so I would always bring this whenever we went down there to visit. You do need to have a score pad handy. It doesn't come with that to keep score. But otherwise, there's not a whole lot to the game. All right, so everyone will choose a player color, and they'll take all of the Cthulhu figures in their player color. So I'll say I'm teal. I'll just take a few of them. All right, so the object of the game is to come up with letters and score the most points. So there are all of these different letter cards, all letters in the alphabet. Kind of an interesting thing, the point value of the cards is based on the number of angles in each letter. So like the letter H has 4 angles, so it's worth 4 points. The letter S, or here, and the letter C have no angles, so they're worth 0. So that's kind of an interesting way to score. Everyone starts with 7 cards. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, and 7. Okay, we'll say I came up with a word. Let's see. Tax. Here we've got tax. T-A-X, tax. So you can see the T is worth 2, the A is worth 5, and the X is worth 4. So this is really high. This is a 12-point word. So you lay it on the table, and then you have to roll a 20-sided die, and this is called your sanity check. When you roll, you have to either match or beat your score. That was 9, 11. I have to beat 11. I got a 13, so I beat it, so nothing happens. Now, if I hadn't matched that, say I only got a 8, then I would lose one of my Cthulhu. Losing, the more Cthulhu you lose, it means you're starting to become insane. If you ever get down to just having 1 Cthulhu, you are insane, and then you get to make up words. So, if I didn't have anything I could spell, I could put NXTA, Nuxta, and then I have to use it in a sentence. My Nuxta is empty, so I have to refill it. So then I add up my points. We've got 7, 13 points. So the benefit of being insane is you can get really high points, except then I have to match it. And here I only got a 3. So my last Cthulhu, and I'm out. If there's anyone, it comes down to just one person having a Cthulhu left, they win the game. This game comes with a bunch of different variants, and you can change the difficulty level as well. So it's definitely a game, for, let's see, what does it say on the box? It says right here, ages 10 to adults. I'd say that's about right. You could maybe play with a little younger depending on, who you're playing with, but this is a fun game. It is fun making up words, using them in sentences, and that is that. All right. Unspeakable Words. All right, because we lose and get in the box. All right, so the next game we're going to talk about, this one is definitely not for younger kids because it's a little bit tougher. This is called Stay Cool. The player count is 3 to 7 players. It's for 12 plus. I think you could probably play it with a few more players than that. So in this game, it's just fun watching people play because it's kind of crazy. So you have you've got this nice little card for your timer. So everyone gets 4 flips for their turn. So when they start, you put it on the 1, and then it goes to the 2, the 3, and the 4. So in this game, whoever's turn it is, there will be sort of jobs for the people around them as well. So it's kind of nice, even when it's not your turn. You will have a good chance of having something to do at least at some point as the game commences. So every turn you'll be given all of these dice. So the colored dice are the consonants, the white dice are the vowels. And here's where the hard part comes. So the person on one side of you is going to read you, give you a question that you have to answer in the dice. So like this one says, a partridge in a blank tree. Partridge in a blank tree. So it would be pear, P-E-A-R. So you have to spell out pear with the dice. That doesn't sound too hard, does it? No. But that's not it. Because then the person on the other side of you is going to be reading you one of these 10 questions starting at the top. And you have to also answer this one verbally. So while you're trying to spell out a word with the dice, you're also trying to come up with the answer to the question here. And that's where it really gets to be fun watching other people play. I am not very good at this, but it really is a lot of fun. You can't just answer one. I mean, you could, but you're going to get points as you progress. So you complete that one, then you'll get another question. So the people who are reading the questions are always paying attention. So as soon as you finish it, they'll feed it to you. And if they see it seems like you're struggling, they'll just repeat the question so it's in your brain. And like I'll constantly have to have people repeating because you're so focused on spelling, and then I forget what I'm doing over here. So you're going to score as you complete these. So like you get a point for the first one if you got all 5 of these letter ones, and you get 5 points. But then you'll also get points for these questions. So you can't really just focus on one because then you're not going to get points in another category. So for the verbal questions, it's things like, what company published this game? What do you use to bang a nail? Say your year of birth, then say the numbers backwards. So they're not super hard questions, but it is really hard because you're already focusing on something else. And there are 10 questions here. It starts at 0 points. And if you get through all of them, you'll get 5. So it's not like you get a point for each one. So it really encourages you to try to get through a lot of questions because that's going to get you more points. But and you've got the letters. So this one, it really is fun. It's hard, but it's just fun. And it's, it kind of shows you the power of your brain, having to think of those 2 completely different things at the same time. That is a really fun game. I would definitely recommend it. Maybe you wouldn't want to play it with people who are going to be frustrated and you think, are going to get mad if they don't win, because they probably won't. But anyway, after everyone has played, you can decide how many rounds you want to go. You may want to only have each player play it once. Again, I guess, from these videos, you can see that a lot of times we'll just play it as long as we want to play it. We don't necessarily follow the, game end. It's just when we're done, we're done. So that is Stay Cool. I've just got one more small little card game left to talk about today, and that is 6 Nimmt. You might also know it as Take 5. It's a German game. It's a lot of fun, and this one you can play up to 10 players. So there are either 102 or I think it's 103 cards, might be 104. There's just one of each card. So you'll deal out 10 cards to each player, and then you'll lay out cards. You have 4 columns. So the numbers like this. And each of the cards has, you can see there's the bowls on the back. So for each card, they're going to have a certain number of bowls on the top, and that's how many points they are worth. And in this game, you do not want points. All right, so there are red cards, and those are the worst. They have a lot more. You can see the blue has 2, and the green one I showed you has 3. The purple ones all have 1. So you want to avoid getting those higher value cards, like you can see how many there are on that red one. So everyone is going to have 10 cards. Okay, so we'll just say there are 2 players here. And these are, you'll have the same 10 cards through the whole game. So you really do want to, let's see, maybe I should do it like this. It'll be easier for you to see. So you want to really be mindful of what you're using. So the object of the game is you're going to go with your start cards here. You're going to be going this direction and increasing in value. You have to lay your card in the row where it's going to be consecutive next. And sometimes the spot can get taken by if someone else lays a card. So you might think you're going to be laying in one row, and then someone lays something so that you can't, so you're stuck laying in another row. Once you get to that 5th card, you have to take, then you end up having to take the whole row. So you want to be really careful and try. You don't want to be laying that card that takes them all, because that's where you're going to get points. If you have a card that's smaller than anything here, you can pick one, remove the row and replace it with that smaller card. Otherwise, you have to follow. So what you do is on your turn, you'll take your cards. The other person takes your cards. Everyone will secretly choose the card that they're going to lay. Keep them face down. Let's see what we got here. You keep them face down until everyone is ready, and then you flip at the same time. Well, here, let's just say we had 4. Let's say we had 4 players, and these are the cards that were chosen. You lay them in order from smallest to biggest. So the person who laid the 9 would lay first. That comes after the 7. You wouldn't put after 2 because there's a 7. So then you'd put the 9 next to the 7. Then the next lowest card is the 16. Then you say, oh, it's going to have to go after the 9. Then the next lowest is the 36, and that comes right after the 35. And then the 46, yep, that would go here. So we're safe. We have a max of 3. So then everyone would pick their cards again, decide what they're going to lay. And, you know, sometimes it's kind of nice to keep some lower cards, not always get rid of those. And here, I'll do a really bad move so you can see what happens if you lay a large card. Oh. And then we'll grab 2 others. We'll go with, try to get some smaller cards here. Okay. So we've got our 4 cards, flip them over. The smallest number is a 25. So the 25 is going to go after the 16. And then we've got a 37. Oh, no. You see after the 36 here, there's a 46. So that means this 37 is going to have to go here. So we're at 5, so we can't go over that number. And then, oh, let's see, this poor person, they came really close, but 46 is less. So whoever laid this has to put it here. So then they take all of these points, and this goes to the front of the pile. So this person just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 points. 6 points. And then you've got the 101. That's going to have to go after the 57. So you can see it's kind of a bummer when you get one of these big cards, so because that kind of almost stops play in this row. But both cards are purple, so they're only worth 2. So if you had a number smaller than the 2, if you had the 1, you could take these 2 points and then lay the 1. And it's not such a bad sacrifice because it's only 2 points. So anyway, and you play until everyone has used up all 10 of their cards, and then you just add up your score, and the person with the lowest score wins. So it's a very fun game. You know, it's not difficult at all. Definitely kids could play this one as well. You know, you're just putting numbers in numerical order. You could definitely help them out if you needed. The ages on here is 10 plus. I'd say that's probably about right. And again, it's pretty quick because it's only 10 rounds. And usually this is a game that, you know, you don't just play once. We usually play multiple times in a row. Just a quick side note. So we played this the first time we brought it down to my parents' house for a holiday. We played it with my brother's family, and they liked it so much that when they got home, they ordered it online. But they didn't realize that what they ordered was a German version, so all of the rules were in German. So they had to go online to get the rules. But it's pretty easy, and if you play it a few times, you won't need the rules anymore. That is 6 Nimmt. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope that some of these games sounded like something you might like to play and that you get to try them out. I'm going to do one more video with 4 more games that you can play in larger groups that I enjoy playing over the holidays. But until then, I hope you have a great week and keep playing games. Thank you. Goodbye.